Sit down on your bed one day and ask yourself honestly, what are the incredibly foolish things I do regularly that are making my life worse? If you genuinely ask this question, meaning you sincerely want the answer, not just mumbling the words, you'll discover the truth very quickly. It'll be almost startling, but you have to truly want to know. Think about it. Do you really have anything better to do? There's no greater path to self-realization and enhancing your existence than by envisioning the highest good you can possibly conceive and dedicating yourself to it fully. Then ask yourself again, is there really anything more worthwhile? If the answer is no, why wouldn't you pursue it? If you align yourself properly and pay careful attention to your actions each day, you'll notice a pattern. The world adjusts itself around your focus. You are a goal-driven being. You need a target to aim at, something that directs your actions. Imagine your aim is the best possible goal. Everything else in your life will start to arrange itself accordingly. Your emotions, motivations, and even what you see and ignore are all organized around that purpose. And when you dedicate yourself to a meaningful goal, your day transforms into a series of challenges and opportunities that help you progress towards that target. You can live fully in each moment while still striving towards your ultimate aim. It gives every day a deep, resonant meaning. Each task, no matter how small, feels like it's contributing to something grand. This reminds me of Noah's story. When chaos and disaster are on the horizon, you want to be doing something meaningful, something that can keep you afloat when everything else falls apart. You don't want to wait for the flood to start building your ark. Begin now, because if the storm hits and your ark isn't ready, the chances are you won't survive. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be open to you. This sounds incredibly hopeful, and I think it reflects the fundamental nature of reality. People often come to me, my students, my clients, and their lives aren't what they want them to be. And I ask, why? Sure, we can put aside tragedy and unexpected misfortune because those are obvious. Life has its share of unexpected catastrophes that aren't always your fault. But what about the things that are within your control? One major reason people don't get what they want is that they never actually define what that is. It's difficult to attain something if you don't even know what you're aiming at. Worse, many people don't ask themselves what would genuinely be good for them. They may think they want certain things, status, wealth, power, but often those are not the right goals, and pursuing them blindly only leads to dissatisfaction. Imagine you're someone who genuinely cares about your own well-being, someone worthy of care and effort. What would your life need to look like in 3 years for you to be thriving? People don't take the time to truly consider this. They never sit down to say, what kind of life would be best for me? What do I need to be fulfilled? Instead, they drift aimlessly, pulled by what's convenient or what's expected of them. You won't get everything, of course. Life's not like that. But you can have what's good for you, and often it turns out to be even better than what you initially imagined. The important thing is to set a direction. Aim for something meaningful, something worthwhile. My experience has shown that when people determine what they truly need and align their actions towards achieving it, they get it. It's almost uncanny. That doesn't mean the path is straightforward. It's more like a zigzag than a straight line. You make progress, but then you realize that maybe your original aim wasn't perfect, so you adjust. You reformulate your goals and keep moving. A big reason why people fail is that they never even try to establish the criteria for success. They don't define what success looks like for them, so they can't recognize it, and they end up stumbling through life without direction. If you genuinely want something, you need to orient your entire life in that direction. This is a form of sacrifice. You have to let go of many things to focus entirely on what matters most to you. But here's the thing. It's not just about asking for what you want in a shallow, fleeting way. It's about a deep commitment. You have to be utterly serious about it, ready to change yourself and align every part of your being to that purpose. This process requires humility. It's not about pointing fingers at others or blaming them for our problems. Instead, it's about acknowledging our own limitations, our blindness, and striving to improve ourselves. It's better to focus on our shortcomings rather than trying to fix others. After all, you can't effectively change anyone else until you've worked on yourself. Take, for example, arguments in relationships. When my wife and I argue and we reach an impasse, I've learned that separating and taking time to think is essential. My initial reaction is to think that it's all her fault, but then I reflect and realize maybe there's something I did, even if it's just 5% of the problem. Recognizing our own contribution to conflicts, however small, is crucial to resolving them and improving our relationships. If you lift your eyes above daily trivialities and align your actions with a greater purpose, something you hold in the highest regard, then you fortify yourself against the inevitable ups and downs of life. The best way to prepare yourself for the challenges life will throw at you is to aim high and make that your priority. The purpose of thinking is to let your thoughts, rather than you, face the consequences. It allows you to imagine different futures and choose the best one before taking any action. You can visualize versions of yourself that will succeed and those that will fail, and decide which aspects of yourself to let go of and which to embrace in order to move forward. The ultimate aim here is to create a better future. The act of envisioning a better future and then sacrificing for it is profoundly powerful. Now, think about what you would be willing to sacrifice to ensure that future turns out well. Maybe it's your comfort, your bad habits, or even your attachment to the current version of yourself. This is the essence of growth, letting go of the things that no longer serve you. To truly understand yourself, one of the first realizations you need to make is that you don't actually know yourself as well as you think you do. We assume we know our personalities, our strengths, our weaknesses, but the reality is often far more complex. The starting point is to watch yourself closely, like you're observing a stranger. Pay attention to your words, your thoughts, your habits. Try to understand what kind of person would act the way you do. For example, when you argue, what emotions are guiding you? Are you driven by a desire to understand, or are you trying to win? When you speak, is it to convey the truth or to manipulate? Are you proud of what you're doing, or does it fill you with shame? The answers to these questions will help reveal who you truly are. But there's an upside to this process as well. Realizing that you don't know yourself fully means there's a lot of untapped potential within you, potential you haven't discovered yet. Sometimes understanding your darker side, your capacity for aggression or destruction, is exactly what you need to grow. Discovering that you are capable of being dangerous isn't necessarily negative. It can be empowering. It can give you the strength to stand your ground when needed, to protect what matters. The key is to challenge yourself. Identify areas where you're lacking, areas you know you could improve if you put in the effort. Set small, achievable goals. If you're not studying enough, start with just 15 minutes of focused effort. If you've been avoiding a stack of work, maybe just commit to looking through it for a few minutes. These seemingly small actions, these incremental improvements, are the foundation of growth. Everyone has something they're avoiding, something that frightens them. It's part of being human. But instead of letting those fears control you, face them just a little bit at a time. By taking on small, manageable challenges, you grow stronger. As you overcome each challenge, you become capable of taking on larger ones. Taking responsibility is a huge part of this. Stand up straight, metaphorically and literally, and face the world. But only take on as much as you can handle, especially in areas where you're just starting out. You have to find a balance between challenging yourself and not overwhelming yourself. Gain small victories over chaos, and then move on to bigger ones. With each success, no matter how small, you establish yourself as someone capable of confronting and overcoming disorder. Think of yourself as a beginner who's learning to tame chaos. Every time you succeed, even in a small way, you prove to yourself that you're capable of facing challenges. You start humbly at a level you can handle, and you gradually improve. Imagine you're raising a child and trying to help them reach their potential. You wouldn't overwhelm them with impossible challenges. They'd lose confidence. Instead, you'd help them grow by offering challenges that are just slightly beyond their current abilities. It's the same for yourself. You need to be realistic about your current capabilities while also pushing the boundaries of what you can achieve. Being humble means recognizing where you need to start, even if it's a very basic level. You might need to begin with steps that are embarrassingly small, but that's the way to improve. Arrogance, thinking you're already above all that, will hold you back. It's a form of self-deception that prevents true growth. You need to let go of any inflated ego, which often masks insecurities and lack of effort. Learn about yourself by watching. Pay close attention to your behavior, your reactions, your interactions with others. Observe yourself without bias, almost as if you were a scientist studying a subject. What are the patterns in your life? What are the areas where you could do better? As you gather this information, you start challenging yourself to make small improvements each day. It's also essential to understand that your potential is virtually unlimited, especially if you align yourself with a higher purpose. By focusing on truth and aiming for the highest good, you create a strong foundation for growth. As you aim higher, more of your potential becomes accessible to you. This pursuit of truth and good enables a deeper transformation, one that not only changes you, but impacts the world positively. You need to take responsibility for your life, but it's an adventure, not a burden. It takes you out of the mundane, elevates your purpose, and gives you meaning. When you embrace that kind of responsibility, your life becomes meaningful in a way that makes any struggle worthwhile. There's an old idea: you must enter the unknown to grow. The unknown is where you find potential. You're constantly discovering new aspects of yourself by stepping outside your comfort zone. When you expose yourself to the world, face its challenges, more of you comes to life. You become capable of more than you were before. The real question is, what would you become if all of your potential were fully realized? It's like the story of the hero going into the dark, confronting the dragon. When you face what terrifies you, you find the light. You find wisdom in that darkness. Every time you face the unknown, you unlock more of yourself. It's how you bring order to chaos. That's the journey, the quest. One that's embedded in every human story, whether it's the hero seeking the Holy Grail or confronting the dragon. Facing the darkness reveals your greatest potential. When you truly want something and you commit yourself entirely to it, the universe seems to bend in your favor. But this desire must be genuine. It's not just a fleeting whim. You have to orient every part of yourself towards that goal. You have to be deeply serious about wanting it and be willing to align every aspect of your being towards that aim. Sit down and ask yourself this: what are the stupidest things you're doing to mess up your life? But really mean it. If you sincerely ask this question and you genuinely want to know the answer, it'll come to you very quickly. You have the ability to think deeply, to be creative, to imagine different futures. What would happen if you genuinely consulted yourself about what's best for you? You might be surprised at the answers you find. For things to improve, we need to understand that ultimate responsibility isn't just something we must take on as individuals. It's actually the best thing we could possibly do for our lives. You need to lift the heaviest load you can, the one that's meaningful, because the secret to a fulfilling life is taking on responsibility. Without a sense of responsibility, all you're left with is suffering, emptiness, and despair. This is especially true for young people who are desperately searching for something real. The current culture emphasizes rights and freedoms, but it often neglects to talk about the importance of responsibility. And people are starving for that. Responsibility isn't just something imposed from the outside. It's a calling that brings meaning to life. If you take on responsibility, you don't just get to enjoy fleeting happiness. You gain purpose and fulfillment. Think of it this way. If you were able to bring out the best in yourself and offer that to the world, you would become an overwhelming force for good. That's the potential inside you, but it's only realized if you take on the responsibility of making that happen. You don't know your limits, and it's too early to assume what you're capable of. It's easy to put a cap on what we think we can do, but we're often wrong about our limitations. Imagine dedicating the next 30 years to becoming the best version of yourself. What would you be able to accomplish? You might be amazed at what's possible when you align your efforts with a higher purpose. That's the adventure, embracing responsibility, stepping out of the ordinary and becoming something extraordinary. Wherever you are in your life, start fixing things right where you are. There is no need to travel across the world to find meaning. Meaning is found in the very place you stand. This reminds me of an artist friend who painted views of various places around North America. Each painting depicted what was directly under his feet. He showed that no matter where you stand, there's something of value right there, waiting to be paid attention to. If you want to make a difference, start by fixing what's closest to you. Clean up your room. Take care of your surroundings. Treat yourself as if you are someone deserving of care, someone worth putting in the effort for. This means setting goals for yourself, goals that are meaningful and worthwhile. You need to split yourself into two, the part of you that cares for yourself and the part of you that's being cared for. Imagine that you were responsible for someone you truly care about. How would you help them thrive? You need to treat yourself with the same level of respect and concern. Often, people struggle with this because they carry a lot of guilt, self-hatred, and feelings of inadequacy. But if you want to improve, you need to recognize that you have value. You have an obligation to treat yourself like you're worth something because you are. Consider your friendships as well. It's important to surround yourself with people who support your growth, people who are genuinely happy when you succeed and who encourage you to do better. True friends want the best for you and are willing to call you out when you're engaging in self-destructive behaviors. Seek out these kinds of relationships. They will help you grow. You view the world through the lens of a story. You can't help it. The story is what gives value to the world. Wherever you are, it's likely not enough. You're dissatisfied, and that's part of being human. Dissatisfaction can be good. It propels you to seek something more. In a way, having less can lead to more possibilities, more opportunities to create something new. You're always moving from what's unbearable in the present towards a better future. This future vision is crucial because it gives life meaning and keeps you going. The dissatisfaction you feel with your current state doesn't have to be a burden. It can be a source of motivation. You just need to set your sights on something meaningful, something worth striving for, and begin moving towards it. When you find yourself in a tough situation, when everything seems to be falling apart, ask yourself, what kind of future would make this journey worthwhile? What would give you the strength to endure the difficulties? This is what it means to knock and the door will open. If you're serious about wanting an answer, it will come. You might find that what you're capable of far exceeds what you thought possible. True growth requires sacrifice. To move forward, you need to let go of what's holding you back. This is often the worst parts of yourself, the aspects of your behavior or mindset that you know are damaging but are reluctant to change. Maybe you're attached to these habits because they're familiar, but they are preventing you from reaching your potential. Sacrificing them is necessary if you want to truly transform your life. Resentment is a powerful emotion, and it's a good teacher. Resentment tells you that something is wrong, and it could mean one of two things. It might mean that you need to grow up, take responsibility, and stop whining. Or it could mean that someone is treating you unfairly and you need to stand up for yourself. Either way, resentment is something to pay attention to because it points out areas in your life that need change. If you feel resentful, it's often because you feel powerless or because you're blaming someone else for your problems. You need to take responsibility for your own actions and decisions. It's not easy, but it's the only way to move forward. Focus on not doing what you know is wrong and see what happens. It may seem like a simple concept, but it has the power to change your life. If you're resentful about your life or unhappy with your circumstances, instead of blaming the world, look inward. Ask yourself if you've truly done everything in your power to improve your situation. Have you given your best effort to set things right? If you haven't, then it's not fair to judge your life or the nature of existence. The first step is always to get your own house in order before passing judgment. Humility is essential for growth. It means acknowledging that what you don't know is far more important than what you do know. Every time someone points out a flaw or an area where you're ignorant, it's an opportunity for growth. Instead of defending yourself, see it as a chance to learn and improve. When you start to embrace the things you don't know, you open yourself up to new possibilities and new opportunities. Think of it this way. Do you want to be the person who thinks they have everything figured out, or do you want to be the person who is constantly learning and growing? The answer should be obvious. Life is about continual transformation, and that requires humility, the willingness to admit that you don't know everything, and the openness to listen to others. If you truly listen to people, they will tell you what's wrong and how to fix it. Most people just want to be heard, and when you listen, you create a space for genuine connection. This is true in all relationships. When you have a meaningful conversation, one where both parties are genuinely listening, you create a transformative experience. That feeling of connection, of being fully present in the moment, is what gives life meaning. In clinical psychology, listening is one of the most powerful tools. People come in with problems, and often they don't even know why they're unhappy. Through talking, they start to unravel their thoughts and discover the underlying issues. And the process of being listened to helps them figure out what they want and how to move forward. It's through this kind of genuine communication that people find clarity and direction. If you're in an argument, especially with someone you care about, remember that the goal isn't to win. You don't want to defeat your spouse or partner. That only leads to resentment and unhappiness. Instead, focus on understanding them and working together to resolve the issue. It's not about winning. It's about finding a solution that works for both of you and strengthens your relationship. You are not entirely in control of yourself. There are forces within you, subtle influences, desires, and instincts that seem beyond your conscious command. Your dreams, for instance, often seem to come from someplace deep within that you can't consciously access or control. The same can be said for your impulses and motivations. Sometimes you might think these urges aren't even really you, but they are undeniably part of you. Think about your interests. What fascinates or compels you? You don't choose what you're interested in. Interest happens to you. It's almost as if some part of you, something beyond your control, pulls you towards certain things. This pull towards something meaningful is crucial. It's what moves you away from comfort and familiarity, encouraging you to step out into the unknown. You need to recognize that pull and follow it, even if it seems difficult or risky. Ignoring it leads to a life of emptiness, where all the difficulties and hardships of existence weigh down on you without any of the rewards of meaning or fulfillment. Nothing you do that is meaningful is ever wasted. It's not about everything going exactly as planned. That rarely happens. But when you dedicate yourself fully to something worthwhile, when you put in your best effort, it always pays off in some way. There will be challenges, and the outcome may not be what you originally envisioned, but there will be valuable lessons and growth along the way. This idea ties back to the notion of going into the unknown. We are called to leave our comfort zone, to journey into places we don't understand. That's where true growth happens. The first command in this context is to go into the unknown, because what you know is limited. You are more than what you currently are. But to access that potential, you need to face what is unfamiliar. Take yourself away from the comforts that have made you dependent. If your family or your environment has shielded you from challenges, it's time to step away. Facing necessity, being forced to solve your own problems, is what drives you forward. It's the only way to become independent and mature. We've been fed this continuous message of rights and freedoms, and while these are important, they often overshadow the value of responsibility. The idea that the pursuit of truth and the acceptance of responsibility can lead to a meaningful life isn't talked about enough. Yet that's where fulfillment lies, not in chasing fleeting pleasures, but in embracing something meaningful, even if it's challenging. A meaningful life provides the strength to resist negativity and nihilism, which is something that people, especially young people, need desperately. Before you can be creative or express yourself fully, whether it's through art, work, or any endeavor, you need discipline. You need to focus on honing your skills to the point where they become second nature. It's like sacrificing the present for a better future. And once you master the discipline, everything opens up. The sacrifice of potential is essential for growth. As a child, you have endless potential, but it's unrealized. Growing up means focusing your potential in one direction, sacrificing everything else to become something specific, which then allows you to truly develop and thrive. Everyone knows intuitively that there are countless ways to do things wrong and only a narrow path to doing things right. That narrow path is what we're constantly trying to find. It's the line between chaos and order. Too much chaos, and life becomes overwhelming. Too much order, and it becomes stagnant. The challenge is to find that balance, and you can sense when you're there. It's that feeling of being in the right place at the right time, engaged in something meaningful. When you're on that path, you feel it. It's a deeply instinctual sense that you're in alignment with what you should be doing. Practice living in that space. Notice when you feel fully engaged and try to understand how you got there. What actions or decisions led you to that state? As you practice this, those moments of meaning will become more frequent. First minutes a week, then hours a day, and eventually it could become your default state. You need to understand that you aren't the master of your own house. There are aspects of you, impulses, subconscious desires that operate beyond your conscious control. These parts of you guide your interests and motivations. When something grips you with interest, it's as if it's a force that pulls you in, something almost divine in nature. It isn't something you can consciously choose. It's an experience, a calling that draws you forward. And this calling is what urges you to step out of your comfort zone, to leave behind what's familiar and embrace the unknown. It's a force that demands you listen and follow, even if it's uncomfortable. If you ignore it, you risk losing something essential, a sense of meaning in your life. And meaning is crucial, especially when life's challenges and suffering seem overwhelming. There's a reason why the ancient scriptures say, "Ask, and it shall be given, seek, and ye shall find." It's because those who sincerely seek answers will find them. Challenges, obstacles, setbacks, they're all part of the process. But when you face them, you grow stronger. And what's even more fascinating is that the world seems to change around you when you set a direction and pursue it earnestly. Your thoughts, perceptions, and even the opportunities around you begin to align with your goals. Think of a mountain you need to climb. It's not just any mountain. It's a symbol. It stretches upwards, pointing towards the heavens. Reaching the summit is a metaphor for aiming for the highest possible goal. This climb is difficult, often grueling, but it's necessary. The higher you aim, the more profound your experience will be. And as you progress, everything becomes more intense, more important, and more meaningful. In the process, you might realize that what you need isn't comfort or ease. Instead, you need a life that's challenging and full of purpose, a life that pushes you to become the best version of yourself. It might not always be easy, but it's fulfilling. This journey, this constant climb towards a higher peak, gives your life a richness that nothing else can. Being a good parent is a perfect example of aiming high. A good parent sacrifices their own desires to allow their child to grow, to leave the nest, and to be the best person they can possibly be. This means letting go, letting them face challenges, and encouraging them to reach their potential. It's not about keeping your child for yourself or controlling their every move. It's about giving them the tools and the freedom to thrive independently. When you have a child, you initially do everything for them, but as they grow, you need to step back and let them take on more responsibility. You allow them to learn and make mistakes. This process builds their competence and confidence. The same applies to caring for the elderly. You allow them to do as much for themselves as possible to maintain their sense of independence and self-worth. It's about gradually removing yourself from the equation, allowing others to stand on their own. And this is what we must do for ourselves as well. We must become independent by facing life's challenges and accepting responsibility. As you do this, you become a beacon, not just for yourself, but for others. You contribute to the world by striving to be the best you can be, and that requires letting go of the parts of you that cling to comfort and security. To come to know yourself, you must first admit that you do not know yourself as well as you might think. You must watch yourself like an outsider, observing your behavior, your thoughts, and your reactions without bias. It requires an almost cold-blooded honesty. What drives you? What are your fears, your habits, your fantasies? This self-awareness isn't easy to achieve. It can be terrifying to discover the darker aspects of yourself, the things you'd rather not acknowledge. But understanding your capacity for darkness is what allows you to integrate it and use it constructively. It's not about denying those parts of yourself. It's about understanding them and using them as a source of strength. Realizing you're capable of being dangerous means you can choose to control it and use it positively, which can make you resolute and determined when you need to be. Another key aspect of understanding your potential is challenging yourself. Start small. Pick something that you're avoiding or something you could improve upon and work on it. The goal is not to do something grandiose right away, but to make small, incremental improvements. If you're avoiding something that's bothering you, tackle it in small parts. Even a tiny step forward is better than standing still. Everyone has things they avoid. It's a universal struggle, but those who are disciplined are the ones who improve one step at a time. Discipline doesn't mean jumping into the hardest challenges right away. It means gradually building up your abilities by consistently pushing yourself just beyond your comfort zone. Oh, know yourself, you need to challenge yourself. Think of a child being encouraged to reach their highest potential. You wouldn't overwhelm that child with tasks they can't complete. No, you set them challenges that are difficult enough to encourage growth, but achievable enough to build confidence. You need to treat yourself the same way. Set small, achievable goals that help you stretch your abilities just a little more each time. Perhaps it's focusing more on work you've been avoiding, or taking a step forward in managing a relationship that's not going well. The important part is to keep moving, testing your limits, pushing them a little further each day. You need to approach these challenges with humility, understanding that growth often starts with what might seem like embarrassingly small steps. To do this, you need to let go of the arrogant part of yourself that thinks it's already good enough. That arrogance will prevent you from acknowledging where you need improvement, and as a result, it will hold you back. It's often that ego, an inflated sense of self-worth, that stops you from becoming the person you could be. Humility is essential because it lets you recognize where you can do better, where you can grow. Think of this as training yourself like a warrior who is preparing for battle but against your own limitations. You must do this with precision and focus. When you act, do so in a way that moves you forward, even if only a small distance. Each small step towards improvement contributes to building the person you could become. You need to take responsibility to stand up straight and face the world, but only at the level you can manage at your current stage of development. A good metaphor for this is a mountain. Imagine trying to climb a mountain. It's not just about getting to the top, but also about understanding your current position, the terrain, and the obstacles. You have to take each step with purpose, with your eyes on the peak, knowing that every small movement is part of the larger journey. As you continue, more of your potential comes into play, and each step you take brings you closer to your goal. The more honestly you confront the challenges before you, the more you'll be capable of achieving in the future. This is a process of incremental improvement, a process of transforming chaos into order at every step. And as you do that, you gain competence and self-confidence. Life is hard, and resentment can be a powerful force in our lives. It's important to listen to what your resentment is telling you because it can help guide you. Resentment means that there is something wrong. It's either telling you that you need to step up and take responsibility, or that someone is treating you unfairly. It's crucial to address the root of your resentment, whether it means growing up and letting go of unrealistic expectations or standing up for yourself in situations where you're being mistreated. Resentment can also be a motivator for change. For instance, Alexander Solzhenitsyn, during his time in the Gulag, could have easily blamed others for his suffering. Instead, he reflected on his life and the choices he made that brought him to where he was. He examined his actions honestly and took responsibility, deciding to set things right. It was this process that enabled him to write the Gulag Archipelago, which played a crucial role in bringing down the Soviet regime. Solzhenitsyn's story is a reminder that even when life seems overwhelmingly unjust, we can still take responsibility and contribute to meaningful change. Sometimes, when things aren't going well, it's tempting to point fingers at others or blame external circumstances. But before we judge the world or others, we need to make sure that we've done everything in our power to improve our own situation. Have you really put in the effort to make things better for yourself? If the answer is no, then you don't have the right to complain about the unfairness of life. The solution begins with you. Straighten yourself out first before worrying about anything else. Humility also means recognizing that what you don't know is far more important than what you do know. Each time you realize you've made a mistake or lacked knowledge, it's an opportunity for growth. Instead of feeling defensive, you should feel grateful. It means there's a chance to improve, a chance to become better. You need to choose between being the person who thinks they know everything and the person who is constantly learning and evolving. If you truly listen to the people in your life, they will often tell you what's wrong and what you need to do to fix it. It's not about talking, it's about listening, really listening, without letting your ego get in the way. Imagine just for a moment what your life would look like if you genuinely committed to making every day a little better, not in dramatic and unrealistic ways, but in small, meaningful ways. If you decided that today, you'd be just a tiny bit more honest with yourself, a tiny bit more productive, a bit kinder. What kind of person would you be in a year? In 5 years? In 10? There is immense power in small improvements, especially when they accumulate over time. We often think that change has to come in grand, sweeping gestures, suddenly quitting a bad habit entirely or transforming our lives overnight. But the truth is that real, lasting change comes in those small, consistent actions that we take every single day. It's about waking up each morning and deciding that today you'll be just 1% better. It's about realizing that those small changes, repeated day in and day out, add up to something monumental. Think of it like this. Imagine you're on a ship and your course is off by just 1 degree. Over a short distance, that difference is hardly noticeable. But extend that journey over thousands of miles, and that 1 degree error will lead you completely off course. The same is true in our lives. If we make just slight adjustments in our direction, even by 1 degree towards improvement over the span of years, those adjustments can transform our destination. Where you end up depends on how you choose to navigate right now. And navigation requires aiming at something, a purpose, a direction, a goal that pulls you forward. Without an aim, you're like a ship lost at sea, drifting wherever the tides and currents take you. That's how many people feel adrift, without purpose, carried by the whims of life. But you don't have to be that way. You need to chart a course for yourself, even if you're unsure of the final destination. Aiming for something meaningful also helps you find joy in the struggle. Life is full of challenges. It's part of being human. There will always be obstacles, difficulties, and suffering. But when those challenges are aligned with a meaningful goal, they become bearable. They even become fulfilling because they are steps on the journey towards something worthwhile. When you have a reason for your suffering, it ceases to be mere pain and instead becomes a meaningful part of your growth. It transforms into the very thing that gives your life value. Picture a blacksmith forging a sword. Each strike of the hammer seems like it's inflicting damage on the metal, but in reality, it's shaping it, refining it, making it strong and sharp. The same goes for you. Every challenge, every setback, every failure is like a strike of the hammer, shaping you into the person you could be. When you face hardship, you're not being broken, you're being forged. And you are both the sword and the blacksmith, shaping your own potential through the actions you take. It's also essential to remember that success is built on failure. Often, we look at successful people and think that they were born lucky, that they simply found their way without much struggle. But the truth is that anyone who has truly achieved something worthwhile has failed countless times. They faced setbacks, challenges, and obstacles, but they kept going. They learned from each failure, adjusted their aim, and moved forward. Failure is not a sign that you should quit. It's a sign that you're trying, that you're learning, and that you're growing. Failure provides you with the information you need to get better. It shows you where your weaknesses lie, where you need improvement, and what doesn't work. Without failure, there's no growth, because growth requires understanding where we fall short. You need to become comfortable with failure, not in the sense of accepting it as a permanent state, but in embracing it as a necessary step on the road to success. Courage is another vital part of this journey. It takes courage to face failure, to look at your life and admit where you've gone wrong, where you need to improve. It takes courage to accept responsibility, to say, I am the one who needs to change. It's much easier to point fingers, to blame others, to say that life is unfair. But real courage is in acknowledging your own role in the challenges you face and then doing something about it. The ancients knew the importance of courage. In every great story, the hero must face his fears, step into the unknown, confront the dragon. That dragon might represent external challenges, difficult situations, formidable obstacles, but more often it represents the things within us that we fear the most. It represents our insecurities, our doubts, our weaknesses. And just like the hero in those stories, we must confront our inner dragons if we are to grow. Sometimes the greatest battle is the one we fight with ourselves. It's not easy to sit with your thoughts and confront your fears. It's not easy to look honestly at your past mistakes and take responsibility for them. But that's where real growth happens. You need to face those parts of yourself that you'd rather ignore, the parts that are lazy, that make excuses, that resent others. It's only by facing these aspects of yourself head on that you can truly grow and become the person you were meant to be. The importance of vision cannot be overstated. To keep moving forward, to keep striving, you need a vision of what you're aiming for. That vision is what pulls you through the tough times, what gives you the strength to endure suffering. It's what makes the struggle worthwhile. Without a vision, you're just drifting. There's no reason to endure, no reason to push through the challenges. And your vision should be bold. Aim for something greater than yourself, something that contributes to the world, that makes life better, not just for you, but for those around you. It could be becoming a better parent, building something meaningful, helping others grow, or making the world a little less chaotic. Whatever it is, make sure it's something that matters. If your vision is only about yourself, it's too small. You need something big enough to inspire you, something worth sacrificing for. Another thing that's crucial to understand is the value of sacrifice. Throughout history, the concept of sacrifice has been central to human culture. People would give up something valuable, time, resources, comfort, in the hope of gaining something greater. This principle still applies today. To achieve anything of real value, you need to sacrifice. Maybe it's sacrificing short-term pleasure for long-term success. Maybe it's sacrificing comfort to face a challenge. Whatever it is, meaningful achievements always come with sacrifice. Think of the things you're attached to that are holding you back. Maybe it's a bad habit, an unproductive routine, or a limiting belief. To move forward, you need to be willing to let go of those things. It might feel like a loss initially, but it's actually a gain because you're making room for something better. You're trading something of lesser value for something that could transform your life. As you continue on this path of self-improvement, discipline becomes your ally. Discipline isn't about punishment. It's about training, refining, and guiding yourself towards the goal you've set. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's getting up early to work on your dreams. It's staying focused even when you're tired. It's choosing what's hard over what's easy because you know it's worth it. The key to building discipline is consistency. It's the small habits you cultivate every day that define who you are. Start by building habits that align with your goals. If you want to be healthier, start by exercising a little each day. If you want to improve your career, set aside time every day to learn something new. The point is to take consistent action. Over time, these small actions build into something significant. Discipline compounds just like small improvements compound. Another crucial component of this journey is learning to forgive yourself. You will fail. You will make mistakes. You will fall short of your expectations. It's inevitable because you're human. But these moments of failure are not the end. They're part of the process. It's easy to fall into the trap of self-criticism, to feel like you're not good enough because you messed up. But that's precisely when you need to be compassionate with yourself. Recognize the mistake, learn from it, and move on. Self-forgiveness is not about avoiding responsibility. It's about accepting your imperfections and using them as stepping stones for growth. Let's also talk about relationships. The people you surround yourself with have an enormous impact on your life. You need to be around people who inspire you, who push you to be better, and who celebrate your successes rather than feel threatened by them. Your environment matters, and the people you spend time with are a significant part of that environment. Choose to spend time with those who uplift you, who are genuinely interested in seeing you grow. This doesn't mean that your relationship should be transactional, that you only keep people around who can benefit you. It means you need relationships that are built on mutual respect and growth. You need people who are honest with you, who are willing to challenge you when you're wrong, and who are happy for you when you succeed. These relationships will help you stay aligned with your goals, keep you accountable, and give you support when you need it. When it comes to love, one of the greatest realizations is that love isn't about what you can get. It's about what you can give. If you're seeking love, focus on becoming the type of person who is worthy of love. Focus on becoming the kind of partner you'd want to be with. Love is not about demanding or expecting others to fulfill your needs. It's about contributing to someone else's well-being while striving to grow together. It's about lifting each other up, not just during the good times, but through the struggles as well. And through it all, remember that life is a journey, not a destination. Every day is an opportunity to move a little closer to the person you want to become. Every decision you make is a chance to align your actions with your values, to move toward a meaningful future. Some days you'll move forward, some days you'll stumble, but what matters is that you keep moving. You are capable of extraordinary things. The potential within you is vast, but it's up to you to unlock it. You have to face the dragons in your life, take responsibility for your actions, and be willing to make sacrifices for the sake of a greater vision. You need to cultivate discipline, build meaningful relationships, forgive yourself when you fail, and celebrate your victories along the way. The journey to fix your life isn't easy, and it isn't quick. It's a lifelong endeavor that requires patience, persistence, and courage. But it's also the most worthwhile journey you can undertake. The road will be filled with challenges, but it will also be filled with growth, fulfillment, and a sense of meaning that can only come from knowing that you're striving to be the best version of yourself. You are the hero of your own story. The choices you make today will shape the person you become tomorrow. Start now. Set your aim high, take responsibility, and take that first step. It doesn't matter how small the step is. What matters is that you take it, keep moving, keep striving, and keep believing in the potential that lies within you. Your life is worth the effort, and you have the power to make it meaningful. There's another important concept to consider as you navigate this journey of self-improvement: gratitude. It's often overlooked, especially when life feels like it's just one struggle after another. But gratitude can be one of the most powerful tools at your disposal for transforming your mindset and giving you the strength to keep moving forward. It doesn't mean ignoring the difficult parts of life or pretending that everything is perfect. Rather, it means taking the time to acknowledge the good that exists, even amidst the challenges. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have. It helps you see that even if things aren't ideal, there is still value, still beauty, still something to be thankful for. Each morning when you wake up, consider what you're grateful for. It could be something as simple as having a roof over your head, the support of a friend, or even the opportunity to try again today. Gratitude grounds you, reminding you that despite all the chaos and suffering, there is still goodness in the world. This small mental shift can provide you with a sense of strength, resilience, and purpose that keeps you moving forward. Gratitude also plays an important role in your relationships. When you actively express appreciation for the people around you, for their support, their presence, their kindness, you strengthen those bonds. People who feel appreciated are more likely to stay by your side, to be inspired by your journey, and to help lift you when you stumble. It creates an atmosphere of positivity, an environment where everyone feels valued and encouraged to be their best selves. The small act of showing gratitude can foster deeper connections and build a network of support that will sustain you in the hardest of times. But gratitude alone is not enough. You need to combine it with action. Many people fall into the trap of positive thinking, believing that if they just think positively, life will magically improve. Positive thinking has its place, but without concrete action, it's merely wishful thinking. The difference between those who succeed and those who remain stuck often comes down to one thing: action. Taking action, even when you're scared, even when you're uncertain, is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who only dream. Every journey starts with a single step, and that first step can often be the hardest. It's easy to stay in the comfort zone, to avoid taking risks, to rationalize that you'll do it someday. But someday never comes. All you have is today. If you want to change your life, you need to take action today, no matter how small that action might be. The momentum you create by taking that first step is incredibly powerful. It builds upon itself, and over time, those small actions turn into something meaningful and significant. The problem is that people wait for the perfect moment to act. They wait until they feel confident, motivated, or ready. But the truth is, you'll rarely feel completely ready. The secret is to start before you're ready. Start before you feel confident, and let action build your confidence. Action, no matter how uncertain or hesitant at first, will eventually lead to clarity and confidence. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes as a result of taking action, of proving to yourself that you can do it. Think of your potential as a seed. A seed contains within it the potential for growth, but it requires the right conditions to flourish: sunlight, water, soil, and care. The same goes for your potential. Within you lies a vast store of potential, but it needs nurturing. It needs to be fed with effort, practice, and resilience. If you neglect it, it will wither, but if you nurture it with patience and hard work, it will grow and flourish into something far greater than you could have imagined. And just like a garden, growth takes time. You can't rush the process. You can't plant a seed today and expect a fully grown tree tomorrow. The same goes for your goals. You need to have patience with yourself. Growth takes time, and progress isn't always linear. There will be setbacks. There will be moments where you feel like you're taking 2 steps backward for every step forward. But remember, setbacks are a part of the journey. Just because you face obstacles doesn't mean you're failing. In fact, overcoming those obstacles is what will make you stronger, what will prepare you for even greater challenges in the future. And you need to learn to be comfortable with discomfort. Growth always involves discomfort. It means stepping outside of what is known and safe. It means pushing against your limits, doing things that scare you, and being willing to face uncertainty. But it's precisely in those moments of discomfort that true growth happens. Every time you do something that scares you, every time you push beyond your limits, you expand your comfort zone. The more you do it, the more comfortable you become with being uncomfortable, and the more capable you become of handling whatever life throws at you. This brings us to the idea of resilience. Resilience is not something you're born with, it's something you cultivate through experience. It's the ability to pick yourself up after a setback, to keep going when things are hard, to keep striving for your goals even when the path is uncertain. Resilience comes from facing challenges, from failing and then getting up to try again. Every time you face a setback and get back up, you're building your resilience. And over time, you become someone who can face anything because you know you have the strength to keep going. Part of resilience also involves self-talk. The way you speak to yourself matters. If you constantly criticize yourself, if you tell yourself that you're not good enough, that you can't do it, that you're a failure, then you're undermining your ability to succeed. You need to learn to be your own coach, your own cheerleader. When you make a mistake, instead of berating yourself, ask, what can I learn from this? When you face a challenge, tell yourself, I can handle this. I've faced challenges before, and I've made it through. The way you speak to yourself can either build you up or tear you down. You need to become aware of your inner dialogue and consciously choose to speak to yourself in a way that encourages growth and resilience. This doesn't mean ignoring your flaws or pretending that everything is perfect. It means acknowledging where you need to improve while also recognizing your strengths and celebrating your progress. Another powerful tool for growth is visualization. Take some time each day to visualize yourself as the person you want to become. See yourself achieving your goals, overcoming obstacles, and becoming stronger. Visualization isn't just about daydreaming. It's about creating a clear image of your future self, a self that you can work towards. When you have a clear vision of what you want, it becomes easier to align your actions with that vision. It becomes easier to stay motivated because you have a vivid picture of what you're striving for. Visualization can also help you prepare for challenges. Picture yourself facing a difficult situation and handling it with grace and strength. Imagine the feelings of confidence and capability that come with overcoming that challenge. By mentally rehearsing these situations, you prepare yourself to face them in real life. And when they do arise, you're more likely to respond in a way that aligns with your goals. It's also important to understand that part of your growth involves learning to serve others. True fulfillment comes not just from personal achievement, but from contributing to the lives of others. Ask yourself how you can use your talents, your strengths, your experiences to make a difference in the lives of those around you. Serving others gives your life a deeper sense of meaning, and it connects you to a purpose greater than yourself. When you focus on contributing to the well-being of others, you become a part of something larger. You begin to see that your struggles, your growth, your efforts aren't just for you. They are for the people you love, for your community, for the world. This sense of contribution can be a powerful motivator. It can give you the strength to keep going when you're tired, when you feel like giving up, because you know that what you're doing matters not just to you, but to others as well. Mentorship is another powerful way to contribute. You have unique experiences and insights that others can learn from. Seek out those who are earlier in their journey, who might benefit from the lessons you've learned along the way. By mentoring others, not only do you help them grow, but you also reinforce your own growth. Teaching is one of the best ways to deepen your understanding and solidify your knowledge. Another key part of this journey is cultivating a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that your abilities, intelligence, and potential can be developed through hard work, dedication, and learning. It contrasts with a fixed mindset where you believe your abilities are set in stone. A growth mindset allows you to see challenges as opportunities, to view failures as lessons, and to approach life with curiosity and resilience. It's what helps you persist in the face of setbacks and what drives you to continually improve. Embracing challenges rather than avoiding them. Understand that every challenge you face is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become stronger.